Why is Kiriko so strong? Now, with the release of Overwatch 2, there were 3 heroes that released with the new game. You had Sojourn, Junker Queen, and Kiriko. And arguably, Kiriko was the strongest out of all 3 that were released. Sojourn was strong in a way that is different from Kiriko because they're fundamentally different characters that do different things, but I would say Kiriko was more useful than Sojourn on release. Sojourn was just broken. Sojourn just made the game terrible for everybody. But Kiriko, from launch, was always a very, very competitive and viable option because she does so many different interesting things. So today for this video, I wanted to break down Kiriko's kit and why she's so strong and why she will always be a good, viable pick. Also, real quick, if you guys are seeing this, make sure you leave a like in the video and subscribe. If you guys want more Overwatch analysis videos, please let me know down in the comments below. And what analysis video would you like me to make next? All right, without further ado, let's break this character down. So besides being the Overwatch community's second favorite hentai search, Kiriko is one of the best characters for flexibility. What I mean by that is Kiriko can do so many different things at the same time, it's actually scary. So with Kiriko's tags, she sends a healing stream of these little paper tags that go forth and heal, albeit a little slower than something like a Baptiste or an Ana shot, but faster than like a Zen or something like that. I actually will pull up the actual numbers here now, but a Kiriko's healing, if you can just keep that up and you can keep her alive in these fights, it's not negligible at all. If your team is especially clumped up, kind of like when people are like running a Baptiste or something like that, they're clumped up, you can keep everyone going for the most part. Now granted, if someone decides to dive you or someone decides to pressure you, yeah, your healing might fall off a little bit because Kiriko doesn't really do well in dive particularly. That's not what her kit is built for, but you can still output a very, very good amount of damage. Most of the time, you'll see Kiriko's with either the most healing in the lobby or second. If you see a Kiriko with like the 3rd or 4th most healing in the lobby, their damage should be exponentially high, and if it's not that, then they're not doing their job, unfortunately. Kiriko's tags are good for, again, kind of like Lifeweaver and Zen, for high mobility characters such as Doomfist, Genji, Tracer, you name it. Kiriko is fortunate enough to not have to aim directly on the target, but vaguely around their hitbox, and the tags will kind of semi-guide towards them. The range is actually pretty good. I believe the range might be up to like 20 or so meters. I can't remember off the top of my head without actually looking at the data, but her range on her tags is pretty good. So in case there's ever a fight that's happening over to her far left or far right while she's engaging with somebody, she can always teleport towards them, which is another big part of her kit, her teleport. Kiriko's teleport allows her to pass through walls to a nearby ally, and it's insanely strong as far as an escapability. The thing about Overwatch 2 support characters is that most of them all have some sort of escapability or something to help them out in duels, except Zenyatta because his kit is so strong. If you were to ever get an escapability or some sort of mobility, he would be absolutely busted. But as far as Kiriko's teleport goes, it's real easy for a Kiriko to, say, teleport to a Reaper and harass the backline with him and possibly get out. It's real easy for her to, if she's in a duel she can't win or she's getting dove by a Winston, she can get out as well. It's pretty easy, but if her teleport is on cooldown, she's kind of naked, she's kind of exposed. Now Kiriko has this really weird quirk where her kunai, her primary form of damage, do actually up to a 3 times headshot multiplier, which is the highest in the game. That is absolutely wild to me. But the problem is with these kunai is they actually travel a little slower. They're only up to 90 meters per second. They're still decently fast, but they're not hit scan. So you kind of have to aim sometimes where people are going. Me personally, I'm not the best Kiriko, as you'll see with this footage, but whenever you hit those headshots, it does a astounding amount of damage. So if you were even half decent with Kiriko's aim, she can have incredible duel potential. Kind of like Ana, I would actually argue that Baptiste and Ana have it better because Ana can just sleep somebody and Baptiste, has his boots and his gun is actually really, really good. But Kiriko's kunai are very, very, very good at outputting damage. Now Kiriko also has her wall climb just like Genji does. Now me personally, this isn't a huge part of her kit, but if there's an ally I need to get to, or I need to get out of a situation, if a battle's starting to not turn in our favor, yeah, I'll wall climb out of there, whatever. If I'm starting to get hounded, I'll wall climb. But me personally, I don't find myself using it too much because I try to focus on my team. Now, if you know anything about Kiriko, you know I haven't talked about the big old elephant in the room and why she's good and always will be good, and that is her suzu. The suzu, or this little onion looking thing, is actually disgusting. So the protection Suzu actually gives allies invincibility frames for less than a second, but it is still absolutely ridiculous. It will also cleanse them of any status effects that they have, such as being burned by Ash's dynamite, such as being anti-nated. Kiriko is a very, very, very hard counter to Ana. And if you have someone like a Hog or a Junker Queen or a Mantra on your team and they get antied by Ana, you can just take it right off. It will also take off things like Discord, but you really don't want to do that because then you can just apply it right back. So you would really want to save it for something that takes a hard cooldown. So you would really want to save it for something that requires a hard cooldown like Ash's dynamite, like I just mentioned. Now, a lot of what you'll see high level Kirikos do, if there's an ultimate, such as Sigma's ult, right before the impact, Kiriko will throw down a Suzu and their allies will not take damage. Now, I personally am not good enough for that yet, but hopefully I get there soonish. Also, you can live a diva bomb. If you know what you're doing with Kiriko, if you throw that Suzu down, you will no one will just take damage from the diva bomb. Now, granted, the spread isn't crazy, but if your teammates are grouped up, you can probably get 3-4 people in there. This ability will always be strong no matter what. Kiriko has the most flexibility out of any support, I would argue, besides Baptiste, because she can put out crazy amounts of damage, again, if you're good. She also can heal pretty effortlessly. And then the amount of tech that you have with this Suzu is absolutely disgusting. Now, we also have our Kitsune Rush, which is, again, one of the best ultimates in the game. With the Kitsune Rush, allies receive buffs to their movement speed, attack speed, and cooldowns of everything that they have whenever they are standing in the Kitsune Rush. So the problem with this is that if you have a character like Bastion, he just keeps going. So much DPS getting cranked out at the same time that you're also like trying to fight off an entire team of these. It's pretty bad. Soldier 76 in this as well. Ramatra, Zarya. I mean, all of these things in these Kitsune Rush. Every ability that you think is bad, just like base, gets exponentially worse in Kitsune. I love it. I love this ability. I don't think Kiriko will ever be bad. Now, granted, Blizzard doesn't really know what they want to do with Kiriko because her base design is so strong and so intricate. I would not be surprised if she gets another nerf or another buff. I wouldn't know, or an adjustment, honestly, because she gets one almost every single patch that we do. I think she's in a pretty strong place now, and I think she will be strong for a very, very long time unless they decide to gut the character. But yeah. Now, honestly, I would not recommend Kiriko for newer players. I think that Kiriko does have a higher skill floor, kind of like Zenyatta. I think if you were a newer player, you should probably gravitate towards someone like Baptiste, Moira, or maybe Mercy. Lucio as well, that's probably a pretty good one as well. But no, Kiriko, insanely good, tons of value. If you ever have a good to decent Kiriko on your team, you'll most likely do well. But yeah, Kiriko is just insanely good. Nothing else to say, really. Oh yeah, also, people don't really talk about this, but also her frame is very, 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 very tiny. So that makes it really hard for people to hit as well. I know a lot of people don't generally talk about hitboxes as far as like playing into their actual gameplay. But yeah, Kiriko, she's very small. So most likely, if you're looking at your DPS, you're like, oh, why is Kiriko not dead? It's because they probably can't hit her, just like a Mercy. That's about all that's all I have for Kiriko. Let me know what you guys think, man. How do you guys think Kiriko plays into this game? Do you think Kiriko is too strong? Do you think Kiriko is too weak? Do you think Kiriko needs a buff, needs a nerf? Yeah, just let me know. Anyway, guys, me, boy Daffy, guys. I will see you in the next video. All right, peace.